All right. Are we back? We're trying. Okay. We are so back. At least it looks like we are for right now. So, all right. You guys in the chat will have to confirm if we are back. Obviously, April Fool's, it's having its own laugh here today. None of this was planned. At least the producers are telling me that it wasn't planned. So we'll see if this works. Let me know if we're back here, folks. And then 13, I guess we'll just pick up here on SATX. It's pinned here at 199.2. So maybe there's not a trade here, but what do you make of the news?
I don't think there's a trade here. The buyout is for $2.10 a share. And we're just right on the edge of that. We're almost at $2 right now, and probably not going to get a whole lot of movement up in the 210 area. So MDA is a company that's on my space list. It's a ticker MDALF. It's an OTC, but it's a real company. They're going to buy the SATX with 193 million in cash. They've got that, and SATX 16.7 million shares in the float. I don't think there's anything really we need to look beyond that. They're getting picked up by a reputable space company.
Does this tell you anything else about your space theme? I know you've kind of been on that here. Does this help confirm or deny anything? How are you weighing this just across the broader theme?
I would have to go into what SATX has and does, because I'm not familiar with that one. So, but I do know what MDALF is. So it makes sense if this is going to be something that's going to help grow their company. But like I said, I don't know anything about SATX, so I'd have to do some deep diving. But for the purposes of trading this today, I don't think there's anything there. It's already made its move, and it's likely not going to give us anything else to trade.
Okay, with you. Interesting to see that there. Yeah, Wiss, you did. Told you. It's not funny. So whoever's out there playing the jokes, it ain't funny.
Wiss with the call of the day already.
Yeah, seriously. Wiss, no stranger to the call of the day, but to have it here on the stream, it is what it is. Okay, let's keep moving on here. Next is going to be ICCT. iCore Connect here. This was the big trader yesterday, and I'm sure everyone is still kind of looking at this. So we definitely have a relative volume aspect here today. Looking at this, it sure looks like this 345 to 350 area is going to be an upside resistance level. I don't really have anything. I guess it looks like you got a 10K yesterday. You got anything on this 113? Anything else on ICCT? Just continuation from yesterday?
Yeah, this is just momentum from yesterday, and I do apologize that I kind of poo-pooed this one yesterday because it was under $1 when we were looking at it. So wasn't necessarily looking for this to go on this crazy run that it has gone on, especially in the afternoon. That thing toward the end of the day just went on an absolute tear, and that's continuing this morning. So I don't know how much more of this momentum we'll get out of ICCT. I have a 1.85 million share. It looks like a 1.85, 1.9 million share float. So this thing was really easy to move around. But this move either will continue today for a little while, or we're just going to start selling out of the open. I don't know how long this move is going to last, basically is what I'm saying. So just be ready for this to pull at some point. But for now, it looks like in the pre-market, it is setting up to go higher. It looks like it's trying to get over 340 again. So that would be the level I'd be keeping an eye on for a breakout, because we are trading up into an ascending triangle.
Okay.
You got to zoom in a little bit so you can see that. But
yeah, here. So I guess, you know what, I can actually add that here real quick. Mm-hmm. Just do something like what? This.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. And then I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So if my numbers aren't perfect, I apologize. But this is basically what we're looking at here today.
Yep. Yeah, so that looks like we could see a breakout, but after that breakout, don't know what we're going to see following it.
Okay, good stuff there. ICCT. Next here is going to be MLGO, as if we need to even cover this one. This has been the stack du jour recently, and another big day yesterday, big spike up to just about $30 today here in the pre-market. Already a move above 33, and this keeps going here. Actually, it sure looks like this is going to test 35 here in relatively short order. We are getting more pre-market volume today than we did yesterday. We saw the huge move in the regular session yesterday. Maybe we'll see the whole thing here again. I don't really think that there's anything new for us to cover here. We feel like we've been covering this the last several sessions here. 18.68% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Float here of 9.82 million. No new news on MLGO, just more continued momentum to the upside. 13, do you have any targets or anything on this one?
I have a stupid level. You want that?
Yeah, hell yeah, I do.
$46.
I'm adding it to the chart right now then.
That's the 200 EMA on the daily chart. That's the next stupid level that I see, and after that, the levels just get so dumb. We're talking triple digits.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say, I said it yesterday, I'm gonna say it again. Understand what you're trading. Be very, very careful with this one. This has a lot of, it's very illiquid, so it has a lot of price fluctuations. You're gonna see it be $34 1 second, and it's going to be $32 the next. This thing moves quick. So just understand what you're trading. Be very, very careful. Yep. And yeah, I know 46 on MLGO is hilarious, but we were just at $3 last week's. I mean, this thing is just on a crazy tear right now. So and we're not too far away from that right now. We're just $12 away. So it could happen, but it's my stupid level because it's just so far out there.
Yeah, and I think the overall mention here is please be careful. We're just talking NMAX. By the way, I had asked if anyone had traded NMAX yesterday. Kathy getting it done here early in the morning, traded NMAX in at 99, out at 124. Y'all folks are absolutely killing it here. This is exactly what I wanted to see. Really, really great trade, Kathy. That's awesome. Congratulations. It's a really good start to the day. Let's have some more here, but just we're kind of coming back to that. I'd asked Derek if he had traded Newsmax yesterday, and he said, no, once it started to go, I was like, this is too crazy. It's okay. Like, I understand, it's all right if these just feel like they're too crazy. The better part is that you don't end up making something really terrible and wrecking yourself. That is exactly what we want to avoid at all costs. We've got plenty of things to trade here today. So if you feel like MLGO is just too risky, I'm sure we'll be able to find something else. That's quite all right. All right. Next here on the list I have is CSAI. We did have some news here. Earnings yesterday. So Clouda Structure. Reported earnings yesterday. Revenue was up 124% year over year, and growth profits turned positive here on this. Now let's check some of the other data here. We do have about 126,500 shares held short here. I don't have a float reading. I don't know if you do.
1.7 million.
1.7. So it's a small float, but that's not a huge amount of short interest in there. So don't necessarily think that'll be a squeeze potential. You have no trouble covering that all up here today. Stocks up 38% here in the pre-market. You can see we really spiked yesterday, about as high as 750. We've come in, we've pulled a little bit here on the pre-market, but we recently just recaptured the VWAP, and we're seeing some pretty good volume here in the pre-market as well. 13, you got anything for this one?
I didn't cover this one, but I can tell you just what I see here is we've had that impulse move yesterday in the after hours, and it's come back in since then. But it found support from the 200 EMA on the 5-minute chart. That's going to be at about close to 550. So that area down there has been providing support ever since it had earnings and it made its move up here. But now we're trying to come off of that 200 EMA and rise back up. This trading is just spiking now, or it just was a moment ago. Trying to get through the consolidation from earlier in the pre-market here. The next resistance area that I'd be looking at is going to be 630. That was the top of the price action in the pre-market this morning. And then after that, we have some consolidation in the after hours yesterday that is also going to provide some measure of resistance. So those two areas are going to be next for resistance. That's going to be 630, and let's call it about 650 is where a lot of that consolidation starts, somewhere between 645 and 685.
Okay, good stuff there. CSAI. Next we have here on the list, let's see, MLG. I just want to make sure this didn't change on me here. MVST, Microvast Holdings. This is another one that we've traded here. This also, Microvast holding shares, are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results. This popped yesterday in the after hours, popped again here today. We gave a lot of it back, but we've made a return to VWAP here. Volume actually doesn't look terrible here in the pre-market. 21.35% of the float shorted here with 6.46 days to cover. That's actually on the 100-day average volume of 8 million shares there. We've traded 8.8 million here. So maybe there's some squeeze potential here. MVST. You got anything on this one, 13? Any levels or anything in particular?
Well, I like the way that it's trading right now in the pre-market as we head into the open. This is just recaptured its VWAP and it is starting to move. So that's something that if you're going to try and trade pre-market, you might want to take a look at this one. We're getting up to some of the consolidation from the impulse move. That's going to be at about around 150 to 155 or 156. I'm sorry, 155 to 160 really. That consolidation in that area. So we could see some resistance as we get up there. But once we break through that, there's not going to be a whole lot of levels to go off of for resistance because we'll be hitting some of the pre-market highs. Now, as far as where we've been before, we still have some other areas of price action in a way, like 180 looks like it could be another level of resistance. We also have some consolidation from January to get through as well. So there's multiple areas when you look to the left on the daily chart that we could see some resistance. But for now, the levels I gave earlier were the ones to watch for. We also have that short interest that could help push past those levels as well. Company does have cash. It is turning profitable, so I don't think there's any risk of a capital raise here. There might be with that last one we were looking at, but not with this one. And I think that's about all I've got with Microvast.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good. That's probably it for the movers. WIMI's the only other one on here. I don't know if you had anything on that. This looks like this is trading up towards yesterday's intraday high.
That's the one that took a stake in MLGO.
Yeah. Okay. So this one, we'll see. We'll see here on WIMI. All right. Let's take a look at some of the stocks that you all folks wanted to take a look at. Yep.
I'm saying, let's
okay,
do that.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you there. All right. First one that we wanted to take a look at, or that I wanted to mention here, is going to be app. Now, we discussed this yesterday in happy hour. We've been discussing this one a lot on this show here. 13, I completely agree with you. The chart does not look great here. However, yesterday we did see some bullish action in the September 520 calls. Now, what's notable about that is that the 520 level is basically the all-time high. And so it's definitely out of the money and in September. So you have plenty of opportunity to try and get that there. It's got plenty of time to actually make that move. And like I said, it was pretty aggressive, but chart doesn't look great here. Something to watch if we see any repeat flows and some of those out of the money strikes that are off in September, especially if they're near this all-time high. 13, what are some of your concerns here with the chart on ticker APP AppLovin?
It just looks bearish to me. For one, the only when we had this big pop back in February up to the highs, the only green day you had is also the close, the highest close you have. That was on Valentine's Day, so I thought that was hilarious that AppLovin is on the day that most people share their love for one another. And then ever since then, it just went straight down, and it created a bear flag. After the most recent test of the 50-day SMA, that took us back down to the underneath the 20-day SMA, and the 20-day SMA is now the one I'm going to be watching to see if it can be recaptured. Because if it cannot, then I think that solidifies my thought that we are going to be heading lower. It's going to be the 20 and the 50-day SMAs that the price has to get back and up above in order to for these patterns to be invalidated, and for me to think that we're on the recovery. But until that happens, I think that there's still quite a risk to the downside.
Okay. Good stuff there. It does look like you got a potential double bottom here at what, 245, I guess let's call it. One thing, though, that really kind of stands out to me, that 200-day right beneath this formation. I, too, wouldn't be surprised if this kind of rolled over and tested that, maybe even if it broke through it. But in any case, just wanted to highlight that action in those September 520 calls
If
on
that happens,
APP.
yeah, if that happens to 200-day SMA, then we're starting a gap fill, and that could lead to the price going under 200.
And that gap doesn't fill down here to about 175.
Yep.
Okay. All right. The next thing that you folks want to take a look at was Celsius, ticker CELH. And I'll tell you something again, Crow, this was a wonderful call by you. It's still working. I think your price target was 40. And I'll tell you what, chart here on the daily looking pretty good. Ran right up off of the 50-day, right to that 200-day. We consolidated right around it. Yesterday, we broke above it. We got a close above it. If this thing can stay strong at all, maybe close again above it, even if it trades sideways here today and closes above it, I think Crow's $40 price target coming in pretty short order. The one thing to keep in mind here is we are right at overbought territory. So the RSI right here at 70, Williams percent hour at minus 4.22, both of those showing overbought. But again, if we can consolidate, maybe stay above this 200-day, I think the next move here might be to 40. Also worth noting at 49, there's going to be your 500-day. And look at where this stock came from. Just one of the most epic double tops up here at 100. We're had a huge range here. So we'll see here on Celsius. This is looking pretty good. If we go back to all of 2024 and then into most of the fall of 2023, you can see our volume point of control here was right in a low 30 handle. We're making some significant movement away from that. Did you have anything here on CELH that you wanted to cover before I go to ENPH?
Just wanted to point out that there was a death cross back at the end of July last year, and that is starting to the range between the 50 and 200-day SMA is really starting to narrow. So as long as we continue to trade above the 200, we're going to see a golden cross here later on this year, probably the same quarter that we're in right now. We just started today. Yep. So and I agree with your assessment on it being overbought. So one of the things you're going to want to watch for is for the stock to cool off, but try to also maintain its presence or its position above the 200-day SMA as well.
Okay, really good stuff there. CELH, Celsius, again, Crow. That was a great call that you gave live here. No stranger to that stuff. Okay, ENPH. This was Ed, right? You wanted to take a look at ENPH here. Solar name pretty much at dead bottom. I don't think there's anything going on here. This to me, never mind. We did have a PR here. Enphase Energy assists SunPower customers with monitoring and service solutions. Okay, I'm not sure that's going to have a huge impact. I guess we can go through that and take a look here. We back out here. You could see we basically moved from one consolidation area to another. Now, my big thing here with solar is what's the catalyst, right? Because if we're not sure interest rates are going to move down, what is the catalyst here that's going to make these more appealing? If this does start to maybe move up off this area, I know it's kind of forming a base here. If it does kind of move off this $60 area, I can totally understand get this back above $100, 115 looks to be this kind of consolidation level that this thing has been trading at here. You got a number of different moving averages in the way beneath or before that all happens here. My big thing with this one, I just don't know what the catalyst is. I don't know what the catalyst is to take us higher. You got anything on this one, 13? Chart, catalyst, news, anything?
Well, there may be, you could probably try to lean on a short squeeze. It does say that the short interest is, over 20%. You have a little less than 5 days to cover. So that's a possibility. The company is, profitable. So, it's been reporting positive quarters for the past few quarters now. I don't necessarily know what's going to pull this down or pop this thing, but it seems like it's really been hammered to hell, and I'm not exactly sure why. I'd have to go and back and look, because if it's profitable, it shouldn't. Maybe it's just still overvalued with its current valuation, because I think on about 380 million in revenue with at over 8 billion valuation, it may just be a little bit too overvalued or too high on the valuation. But other than that, Doesn't seem like there's really anything to take it down. I mean, maybe interest rates later in the year. So this could be better later in the year. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I just don't know what's going to help take it back up. But those are some of the things that I'd be keeping an eye on.
Okay, real good stuff there, Ed. Let me know what it is or let me know any thesis that you have in here or what you're looking for on this. Care Solutions here. I was going to get to this question too before we open up here. In your opinion, with Trump's release or whatever happens here on April 2nd, do you think it will create political volatility in the stock market, or could it spark a rally if seen as a resolution of uncertainty? So the first part of your question here, I think there's already political volatility in the stock market. I don't think we need to create that. It exists. It is here. But the larger part here that I think you're asking about, I've been asking other people about this, and I'll be honest, I'm kind of on that page. I do think that there's a case to be made here that if we do get some certainty, and that's how I would preface it, if we do get some type of certainty that sticks, I think the market will figure out how to digest that. Now, I asked Derek about this perhaps before you got here. And one of the things that he was saying is that he does kind of see a long on-ramp here. That is to say, we might not get the clarity that we really need tomorrow. Now, I know the market is hoping for that. It does kind of feel like it might be waiting for that a little bit. I can't tell you if that is what we're going to get. If we get any type of clarity and uncertainty is removed, yes, I can see the case for a temporary rally. However, I think that rally would be muted. I think that there's still some long-term issues here that we're going to have to get over. I think there's going to be knock-on effects from the tariffs that are obviously going to affect things. And again, what we've kind of seen from this administration is that things change from day to day. And unless we know that that's not going to be the case, I think there's still going to be a certain level of uncertainty there. My gut is, though, yeah, if we get some clarity, maybe we kind of firm up a little bit. I just don't know if we're going to get that, Care.
I was once told by a very smart individual that try to leave your political bias outside of the market, because you don't want that influencing your trading decisions or your long-term investments. There have been people that sat on the sidelines when Obama was president. They missed out on a huge rally.
Yep.
Same thing with Trump. They missed out on a huge rally.
Bingo.
Keep your political bias out of the market. It will serve you much better. That's all I wanted to point out.
Okay. There you go.
As far as answering your question, I think a lot of this, we've got 30 seconds. I think a lot of the tariff have been priced in to the market, but I think that uncertainty about what else could be coming is the part where you're going to see the volatility. So some of the tariffs have been priced in, and whatever we don't know about that's getting announced tomorrow, we're going to see reactive measure to that. But I think a good portion of the downside expectation has already hit the market with the tariffs.
By the way, it looks like GRI had some news while we were talking there. GRI Bio reports encouraging interim 2-week safety study from an ongoing phase 2 study of one of its drugs. Stocks up 192%. Looks like this is going to test 10 here. So GRI making a huge move here on a PR. All right, we are open.
All right, so for the moves we looked at today, MVST, Microvast, that's leaking below VWAP out of the gate here. IBO is trying to find some footing and potentially turn around.
CSAI is trying to go.
Microalgo coming down to VWAP. ICC.
There goes CSAI. Sorry.
No worries. Yep, CSAI coming up to that consolidation I pointed out earlier. Chewing through it. All right, what else do we got going on here? Looks like Microvast is starting to get going here.
Wave is halted. Oh, this looks like this was kind of a low volume move, I suspect.
CSAI is halted now.
Yep. Right into a halt there. 672.
And GRI is pushing through 10. Like through the 10 handle, not just the.
For those of you folks that were on GRI, really good stuff there. Huge move.
Halted. And that just leaves us to go back to ICCT, which is now starting to push. Looks like it's going to try and go a break out of this ascending triangle that we were pointing out. We'll see if we can end up getting that. And
that actually looks pretty good here. Buying volume looks pretty good. 345 looks to be that spot. See if we get above that 345. Nasty pull right there, but still VWAP here at 3, so you got plenty of room here on ICCT.
It looks like Microvast is trying to push up through some of the pre-market price action. Looks like it's trying to take out 150. Big wall of sellers in that area there. MLGO coming back in.
Here we go on ICCT. Looks like 340 is going to fall right here. Bang through 345. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang. All right.
That's a good one.
There we go. ICCT. Finally, one of these little guys cooperated.
Well, that was a really good pattern setup too with the ascending triangle.
Was.
I think there. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think we need to be mindful of there being more room to run with ICCT on that breakout. Just needs to see this volume continue. 370 has a little bit of a wall there. Just to point that out. iBio, this thing really coming down right now, looking for support around the 65 EMA. Microvast kind of whipsawing back and forth. ICCT, here we go, looking for 4. Great job, everybody, on ICCT.
Yeah, there you go. Really good stuff. And so that just goes to show you, I know, 13, you were saying, I apologize for poo-pooing it yesterday, but new information, new way of approaching it here today. Well done. Give you a 1-up for that, 13. I hope that you like that 1-up.
I appreciate it.
STFU saying ICCT looks really good. You think got more? You think it's got more legs to go here? 4 prints coming right now. See what the tape looks like there when it gets up there.
Let's see what the chart tells me. Looks like we are coming up to some one of the January highs, or the January high of 430. So that's an area to watch for if we get over 4. Then we have a December high of 680. After that, I have the 200 EMA at 772. So there's some levels for y'all.
Okay. Really good stuff there. ICCT, nice move. Pulled off that 397 high here, but a nice move right out of the gate. Here's IBO. This is another one that we were watching here. Got a potential bounce here from the 65 EMA on the 5 if this can hold 118 on its way back down.
Good morning, Amanda. And Daniel, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. If we continue that movement we were looking at, that's where I see the that big area of resistance at 772 that I mentioned. So 7, yeah, I agree with you on that.
So RSLS, is this going to be a repeat of ICCT yesterday's? Stock is in penny territory, flirting with $1. Maybe this one goes crazy. It looks like it's trying to challenge 1 now. Just got above its VWAP. Got a pre-market high print there of 115. What do we think here? RSLS.
I have some experience with Reshape Life Sciences. I don't trust that one necessarily, so it's not going to be a touch for me.
Okay.
This is a lap band company. So, there could be, with the Ozempic environment, we could see muted price action with this one.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. I don't like their all the reverse splits and capital raises they've gone through over time. So just not one for me to trade, but don't let me discourage you from trying to, scalp this or whatnot. Also, yes, thank you, Anthony, for mentioning that, because I was going to go to that next. MLGO is halted to the downside. So this party's starting to look like it might be over, but
7-point move from those pre-market highs already.
We've seen this thing come in and then rip higher. So I'm not trying to, give you any false hope or anything, but just be mindful that MLGO can be a wild one. And here we are with a wild move to the downside. So we have 3. Oh, we just had CSAI on halt. That's coming in a little bit here. Might find some support down at this 630 area. We'll see. Nope.
ICCT consolidating here right back near that 397 high. It looks like this is going to try and go through it here. ICCT not in it this time around.
And GRI now unhalted as well.
Mullen is on the scanner. Red alert. I mean, it is April Fool's, right? We might as well.
Y'all have fun.
Yeah, good Lord.
All right, and I think ICCT looking for 4 here. There it is.
401, your high print there on ICCT, and there's the pop through. You guys that have $7 price targets here on ICCT, let's see if we get it. 418, 420, your high. Now, there was actually some size there at 421. This thing's strong. Volume big here. And Smoke Tuna here. Good morning, Smoke Tuna. It's great to see you here. Watch the stocks with high volume. Selling offs to buy cheap and sell high. Definitely watch the volume here. But if the volume sticks around, ICCT could be in play all day here today.
So CSAI and GRI are now halted to the downside. CSAI just getting back the entire move. GRI kind of only taking a little bit off the top, but still above VWAP.
ICCT continuing to push here. Volume looking really good on this one too. Those sticks are huge.
Is probably going to be the darling for the day. There's nothing else that's looking really good right now. Maybe something comes back in the later on in the afternoon, but for now it's all ICCT.
Yep, no question. Bang, more. I tell you what, it pulls off. I'm watching the trading action here. It pulls off of these highs and then just more buying action, slaps the tape, runs higher, goes right through. It's going to halt here, 472.
Yeah. I'm glad you saw it at the same time. That price action was starting to show halting signs, wasn't it?
No question. And as soon as they do that, as soon as they pull it off that high, and then all of a sudden more buying volume just floods into it, that's often when we see those highs get retaken there and then halt. To be honest, haven't seen a lot of that action there in high of day breaks, unless it's some of these crazier runners. It'd be great if we could start getting that more consistently here. Let's take a look at Newsmax and see how that's doing. NMAX here. Oh my gosh, 135. Look for 140. Was I already over 140 once here today?
This is going to halt, isn't it? It looks like it's there it goes. It just halted.
Okay, there we go. Newsmax halted. Okay. I had ICCT up in my other window there. You're absolutely right.
So look for the next thing that everybody's going to go to. It might be IBO. I mean, I just don't know because we have five stocks we were looking at on the movers list are now all halted.
RSLS, by the way, pulled. That was a good call there. Good warning there. So IBO is the next one to watch.
It could be. It's just that we've got so many of these others halted that traders are going to start looking for something else, and they're probably going to go with the next big mover. That would be my guess. So we'll see if IBO reverses and starts going higher here. MLGO just unhalted, so they may just go back to that.
All right, let me bring that up here. I got to step away for just 1 sec, 13. Let me put MLGO on screen. Boy, that's still pulling here. Be right back.
Yeah, that's still going down. They might find some support down at 2350. So we'll see if it gets some support there. It looks like it's still going to halt, though. It's in the process of doing that again. And halted. So there you are, folks. We have 5 halts again. Newsmax, GRI Bio, CSAI, its cloud structure, iCore Connect, ICCT, and MLGO just halted. So now we got to find something else to trade. IBO kind of consolidating. Doesn't look like there's a lot of price action happening there right now. Microvast, that thing is still coming down. It might find some support around 125. That's where the pre-market support was kicking in earlier. So might find it there. What else are you folks looking at here? Crimp Biscuit mentioning BIAFF. What is that? Sounds like an OTC. BIAFF, Bioaffinity Tech. Is that what it is? Okay. No, I see BIAF. No, BIAFF. Well done, Anthony. Shorted MLGO and went long on ICCT. Well done. STFU, CSA, not doing well for you. I'm sorry. So you were in that one at knifed. I'm sorry, man. Low volume, but drug looking squeeze on the daily in for a swing. That's just you're talking ticker DRUG. Oh, CSAI is unhalted now. So drug. I don't see any price action with that one, really. Let's go back to CSAI. GRI now unhalted as well. Those are both going lower. GRI just lost VWAP. This might halt some more to the downside. And CSAI is still trading, trying to recover. It's at 65 EMA on the 5-minute. Be careful with both of these. Yes, and now GRI is halted again. So this thing is halt fest, GRI. Yeah.
Okay.
GRI taking no prisoners, that's right. Mo mentioning WBD. WBD. This is Warner Brothers Discovery. What happened here with this one? Why is this moving? What did they do?
Looks like this was just the news from yesterday after hours regarding the addition of Anton Levy to its board of directors.
Okay.
So it looks like that's just kind of carry through from the news that we got in the after hours session yesterday. Stock's up 2.2% here on that. ICCT still halted.
Yeah. The CSAI is still trading, so that one I'm looking all right. Let me take a look at the chart for WBD and see what we got here, because this thing has been hammered and it's gone sideways for a time. But now what it needs to do is move away from these moving averages, these SMAs. It's above all of them right now, above the 20, 50, 500, and 200. Need to see some movement away from it. As a matter of fact, there's a bit of a trend line that could be broken here soon. If you go to a Warner Brothers daily chart and you draw a trend line from December 12th through the February 27th highs, that would be the trend line I'd be looking for to break in WBD. There you go. Perfect.
So here we go.
MLGO is all right. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. ICCT is open.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually saw that. So this is interesting. This pulled out of the halt, but didn't really pull a whole lot. This is going to try. It looks like this wants to try and go higher. 478 is the high print that I have. A lot of volume traded up there at 472, which was the halt price.
Large wall at 470.
Yeah, I have no position in this. I'm just kind of watching the action here. Remember, the last time it pulled here, the volume really surged back in. That's what broke us to new highs. I'd be looking for the same type of thing here. Not the easiest trade out there, but this is where some of the action is.
Yeah, and it may take more than 1 5-minute candle for this to push through that 472. You just got to keep an eye on 470, and that the sellers that are right there, it's like a large concentration of them. That might be a little bit of a task for the bulls to get through there. GRI, that's still halted. Newsmax, that's halted to the upside.
MVST might be curling off the pre-market lows on MVST.
Yep, right off of 125, that area. Absolutely.
I see RIG trading up here. We talked about oil and energy earlier, so I'm just kind of mentioning it.
Oh, geez. Really, RIG? Okay, so we were... Got to shout out Andy.
I was going to say, what?
Because we were talking about, this is more of like an offshore drilling rig company, but we were talking about tankers and offshore and oil vessels as being a potential play. So this could be within that theme. But anyway, so yeah, great mention on rig, guys. Float's a little heavy though. Good short interest. I think that's one of the reasons why we might be seeing this move here. 17.78% of the float shorted. Looks like MVST is trying to push through VWAP. It's right up there right now. Newsmax is, well, I thought they were, they must have just been unhalted and then halted into the downside move again.
Yep, that was resumed. This was unhalted for 21 seconds here. Newsmax now right above its VWAP and its downside halt. That halt 945.31.
We have ICCT trying to take out 5. Got up to 495.
Last halt was 5 minutes on Newsmax. News mask, News Max. It's going to be difficult for me to say. Here's your ICCT. So we did go 499. Your highest is going to take 5 out there. There's size there at 5. They just chunked it.
Yeah, they're trying to take
prints
it.
there at 5.
Right at 5.
Yeah, STFU. There might have been some other of you calling ICCT, but y'all folks that called ICCT for being the one to focus on here, that was a good call. Looks like this is still in play. We're actually fairly extended from the VWAP here. The VWAP I got at 350, 351 here in Trading View, so we're $1.50 above that. Hasn't pulled yet, but I would look for one of those pulls.
Yeah, maybe. No, there it goes. Starting to pull now. Let's see. MLGO, this is a halt fest at the downside as well. This is going through some of the support levels. ICCT, really big pull.
We're right back to the trend line, by the way, on MLGO.
Mm-hmm. CSAI, that's getting some support down at the 200 EMA. Lots of stuff pulling.
Let's take a look at the broader market here and see how we're doing. SPY down about 0.25% here, but at the highs.
Well done, Anthony.
Did you have a particular SPY level that you really were focusing on here today? It sure looks like 560 is going to be an upside level there. And nice job, Anthony. That was an early work day for you. Yes, Michael, Newsmax is halted again. Yes. It was open for 21 seconds, by the way. ICCT finally getting some type of pull here, pulled from 5 down to 420. I still have the VWAP at 355. More room to pull there on ICCT. Be careful.
Yeah, for SPY, I was yesterday I was mentioning that if we are going to trade higher, that I'd be looking at the 200-day SMA. But we're kind of trading inside the candle from yesterday. So for now, I'm just going to be looking at that 159 area. That's a level I've had marked off for some time. Our Crow's looking for $1 plus in Reshape Life Sciences.
Yeah, RSLS. Last time we took a look at this, it was curling off of that 65 EMA. It looks like we got a VWAP test now at 88 cents here. By the way, ICCT still pulling a little bit, trying to hold on to that 420 area. We'll see if it has the strength to do that. CoreWeave being mentioned here. I was wondering if we were going to see that move here today. Interesting. CoreWeave. I'd watch that 40 level. I think Derek's also mentioned that 40 level might be important. We'll see if that can get above it here today. ICCT still pulling, lost that 420 area. OKLO was on the move. Did we have news on that? Pretty sure up. Top leaders offloads millions worth of stock here in OKLO.
Looks like Warner Brothers Discovery kind of giving back the entire move that they made. ICCT back above 420, trying to go positive.
ICCT holding here, but yeah, you're right, trying to curl.
MLGO, this thing has just done nothing but go down. I don't know how much more time's left in this halt, but the next area of support is going to be just above 20, like 20 and 25 cents.
MLGO was halted at 9:45, so if this is a 5-minute halt, we should be expecting an open here in a second. MLGO.
All right.
We'll see here when this opens.
CSAI is trying to recover. Volume's really gone away from this one.
Celsius, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I don't have anything.
Celsius here looks like this is trying to break out from 37. It was interesting because I did see some puts get bought there. It looks like it's just kind of a mixture of calls and puts here. The calls are the ones that expire this week to 37. So it looks like they're playing in the money calls there. ICCT continuing its curl now.
Mm-hmm. Looks like that's going to try and push to 5 again.
And so is RSLS. That curl now at the possible breakout spot there, 95. Bang, right through 97. Dollar holler coming here now on RSLS, the lap band.
Yeah, 115 is the pre-market high.
Lion here mentioning that Newsmax has no options. Remind me, folks, what is it? Is it normally like a week or 2 weeks that you start getting options if the stock is highly traded after an IPO? Let me look that. Give me a sec here, 13.
Okay. Hey, no problem, Clarence. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Good to see you again, Clarence.
MLGO halted to the downside. Is this another halt, or is this still? It looks like the same halt still. Just under 22.
Here we go. Lion, at least this is, I found this just from punching it into Google here. This is smartsavingadvice.com. At least 5 business days need to pass before a company will have options available on an IPO. There are also several other requirements before a stock can have options, according to Investopedia. The company must have 7 million publicly held shares first as well. Of course, Newsmax meets that. So maybe next week. 5 trading days, maybe sometime next week, you'll end up getting that. Lion. I'm glad I was able to find that pretty quickly.
iBio might be trying to find a bottom here. It looks like it's
IBO, you mean?
Yeah. See, I did it too.
Yeah, I know, and I totally
IBO. IBO seems to be finding a bottom at $1. It's tested that level. Looks like twice now. iCore still trying to recover. It looked like it was pushing up there a second ago. Now it just dropped down to VWAP.
RSLS halted. That was a timely mention on that curl off the 65 EMA on the 5. That I didn't take it, but it ended up working. ICCT pulling now. That curl's been deleted.
Looks like GRI still the halt fest to the downside. That thing is just had a few halts, and they were all gap downs.
Did you guys talk about Gate? I don't recall bringing Gate up here today. No, let's take a look at that real quick. Marble Gate acquisition. This just resumed. This is just out of a halt. Is this just really thin? Got 668,000 shares in the float. On average, stock trades less than 25,000 shares a day.
Yeah, they put out a 10K yesterday as well.
They
delayed their 10K yesterday.
And this is a SPAC. Yeah, I would be wary of this one. Look at the move this made on March 26th. This almost Newsmax, right? 17 to 80.
Did they
with those highs coming in the after hours? Yep.
Did they say what they were going to try and acquire? ICCT. That's looking.
It's breaking down.
Yeah, this it has to turn around with this candle, or else I think this might be done. Right to 5 too. Looks like CSAI is on a tear right now.
Can't find anything else there on Gate. Sorry about that. Good mention though. Gate thinly traded, but up a lot on volume. Kathy, did you hit this one today? APDN, this is one that we've traded here. I guess that's popping a little bit on volume there. Maybe it's folks moving from ICCT to some of these other names.
Yep. I bought IBO. I almost did it again. IBO still turning around, looking to recapture some of the EMAs on the 5-minute, currently working through the 65. MLGO is open, going lower, now under 20. It was just a second ago. It just reversed big time.
And we're beneath that trend line. So that was opened out of a halt there, right?
Yeah.
Crow here saying, wouldn't touch ICCT MLGO, feels like buyer exhaustion.
Yeah, probably. CSAI, look at it, right back to where it halted the first time out of the gate.
You guys in the UP there dealing with a bunch of snow. Hopefully you're all right there. I love this comment from Amanda. Everyone's approach to snow removal in April is to pretend it doesn't exist. Oh, as a Chicagoan, I can relate to those vibes. It's funny.
MLGO is going now. Halted to the upside. It's coming back up to the that trend line that we drew yesterday.
It's pretty much dancing around that trend line here.
Mm-hmm. Looks like ICCT might be well, just recaptured 4. It might be going on a bit of a joyride here.
God, look at the. I remember when we added these upside levels that first day. It really started to go. Look, we are so far above these. I mean, this could really come back in. I know it's halted to the upside right now. I don't want to make an early call on it, but man, oh man. And by the way, ICCT did try to show a little bit of a propensity to bounce there when it came back into its VWAP. Unsure how strong this is going to be. And we actually want that to test the VWAP. We didn't quite get a print there, but maybe this turns around here. Be careful with this one. It does seem like buyer exhaustion. See what else we got out there.
Core Weave just hit 40. Like on the dot.
Okay. So okay.
Reshape Life Sciences new just broke through the pre-market highs. Now 125 going into a halt.
So I think 42 is going to be your next spot here on CoreWeave, particularly if you can hold this area. RSLS has opened. Fairchild all over it. Rehalted already.
Yeah. That
was open for 13 plus 11, 24 seconds. RSLS, new highs. So I had said earlier, is this going to be a repeat of ICCT? And so far, we're kind of seeing similar action, right? We're seeing a stock that's just below $1, having a crazy pre-market here. Now we're in dollar territory. I wonder if there's going to be a halt fest the rest of the day. I don't want to write it out, but just be careful. Understand that it's risky here.
Yeah, there's so like 220 to 225 could be where it runs to. Let's see, Microvast, that thing's still trying to turn around. It's getting support from 125, but volume's just not great. IBO is recovering, still has to get through some of these EMAs. MLGO, I don't know how much more time we have left on that, but that's trying to turn around.
So the last halt was a 10-minute halt. This halted at 9:56. We've got 7 more minutes on that halt for MLGO.
CSAI, this thing is on a tear right now, just approaching 7 now. Looking for the pre-market high of 740. Actually, this is after hours high of 745.
7 test coming here, CSAI. ICCT continuing to march back towards its VWAP. Really need that to hold there. BIAF. Okay, that's a penny stock here. That actually right at pre-market resistance area.
Looks like Newsmax is trying to make another dash for its session high of 147.82. CSAI might be finding some sellers up here in the 7 handle.
ICCT, that pull slowing down right here at the VWAP. And by the way, quick, let me check in on the heat map on the broader market. We actually had some pretty good movers with some of the smaller, junkier names here today, which is great. Healthcare seems to be healthcare financials the most in the red here today. I guess information technology as well. That's really kind of being buoyed by Microsoft. It's kind of mixed across the board here.
Not sure on what to trade right now. I mean, CSAI, that thing is taken off.
Real quickly here, Anne-Marie. Good morning, Anne-Marie. Happy Tuesday. Anne-Marie here, thinking we could do some leveraged ETFs on quick strike trades. God, Anne Marie, our community is loving hearing that. But let me know if you have choices you'd like me to cover in the options segment ahead. Folks, let's hear them. What would you like Anne Marie to cover? No, the Newsmax doesn't have options yet, so she can't give that to us yet. Anne Marie, one thing that I wanted to mention, I know we've talked about app a lot recently, so perhaps we don't need to come up with a new trade for this one. I can't remember what we still have on, but we did yesterday saw some interesting, unusual, aggressive action in the September 520 calls. So number of months out here, super out of the money. Maybe that gives you an idea on how to manage an existing trade. Maybe that gives you an idea for some type of spread. You let me know. I know we've talked about app a lot recently. I love your idea of the leveraged ETFs here. We can absolutely look at those. But you let me know here on app.
Looks like
September
we have
520. Sorry, 13.
No, it looks like we have a recovery happening with ICCT. IBO is still having trouble getting on the high side of the 200 EMA. Looks like MVST, Microvast, is trying to recapture its VWAP, so that'll be something to watch for. But yeah, looks like there's that GRI. That thing is still selling off. Might be finding some support here. This is the first time it's put in some wick at the bottom after it's started its sell-off. So we might be seeing some recovery here in GRI. CSAI hit 725 and has not gone much higher than that in this current candle. Newsmax still looking for higher prints. I don't see any buyers really. Anyway,
that bounce on ICCT continuing to go here off the VWAP. RSLS, this went as high as 140. Looks like it's pulling back here a little bit. Smoke tuna here. RSLS has a gap fill at 233.
I don't.
I think that's right in here, right, Tuna? This fills right up here. 233.
Yeah, so
that's what you're looking at.
We're approaching that gap, and it's funny too because I have that 65 EMA on the daily at 223. But yeah, he's right. That's from February 14th to the 18th, that weekend.
Yep.
Create a gap.
We're on our way back up to that.
All right, so ICCT was attempting to get back above its VWAP. I mean, it's. I think my VWAP's different than yours. It's getting rejected there right now. How about you?
We did not even test the VWAP yet. I've got it at 363. So on this move back down, we didn't actually print that yet.
Looks like CSAI is pulling.
Daniel, you had mentioned here that the volume is terrible. I mean, that's all relative. Obviously, the volume has really kind of turned around here. In fact, volume has told the story on ICCT all day, right? That huge impulse move. We had a ton of buying early on. As soon as that buying flipped to selling volume, this thing has really come back in, and that volume has compressed here.
Yeah, so CSAI is coming back in a little bit here. Still above VWAP. GRI just put in a neutral candle, so we might see some bottoming, or it's just going to continue to go lower. Newsmax, that just made a new high.
And CoreWeave is trying to build above the $40 level that we identified. So CoreWeave, this actually might be trying to go higher here.
Yep. Reshape
Newsmax was the other one that you mentioned. Sorry.
Yeah. That one's still going.
Well, I really wish I would have. I really wish I would have tried this one. Definitely would not have. If I had tried this yesterday, definitely would not have held this overnight. So I'd be missing this move regardless. But you know, shout out again to Derek. This did kind of remind. I had said earlier that this was reminded me of the GoPro and the Beyond Meat. Both of those had multi-day moves after its IPO. To prices that just did not make sense. That's what I feel like is going on here with Newsmax.
CSAI is getting support from its VWAP. GRI showing some signs of turning around. Newsmax over 160. CoreWeave looking to test that 40-45 print that it just made about 10 minutes ago.
That was a nice move there on CoreWeave. That nice move above 40. Let's see if we can set some new highs here.
ICCT starting to push up. Watch for expanding volume once it gets over 4. And Microvast rejected at VWAP.
Well, I tell you what, that little kind of roll back over there on the 1 minute chart on ICCT, that probably, yeah, this right here.
Yeah, so
probably flushing people. We did come into the VWAP though.
Yeah, just be careful with ICCT. I don't know if the volume isn't really telling me that people are piling back into this yet. So there may be a bigger move coming later, but just be careful with it for now. The volume's not what it was at the open.
Watch that volume. That volume's going to tell the story here on ICCT.
Newsmax is halted to the upside. This thing just on a tear now.
160. 160.
CSAI also getting support from VWAP. Let's be careful with this one. This thing, has had some pretty wild movement as well. IBO still trying to recapture the 200 EMA. Microvast hasn't broken down, but it's still having a task of recapturing its VWAP. Lots of sideways or wait and see action happening here. Looks like ICCT wants to try and go back up to 5. Bearish Rami on the daily on SPY. It wouldn't surprise me if SPY ended up going lower before it goes higher.
Let's see where SPY's at here. SPY at the lows of the day here and breaking the pre-market lows on SPY.
Yeah, Jolts and ISM manufacturing. Those just came out. I think it's what we're seeing the downside on.
Here you go. Jolt's job openings for February, 7.56 million versus the 7.69 million estimate. That number's light there. Prior read was 7.76. ISM manufacturing prices for March, 69.4 versus the 64.6 estimate. The prior read was 62.4. And ISM manufacturing PMI for March, 49 versus the 49.5 estimate. Prior read there, 50.3.
SPY, 55 was getting mentioned. I'm sorry, I missed who was saying that, but that was 555 was a great level. That's going to be support for now, but beneath that, if we lose it, we're going to be looking at the correction, the 10% correction level of 551.91.
ICCT continuing its bounce here, right back above that 420 level. We already saw that level be important earlier today.
Yep. This would be a fantastic recovery if it goes here.
PVH, another leg higher here post earnings. APDN, Smoke Tuna, is that the one that you were on earlier? I don't see it on my list here. Where did that go? That kept ripping. Tuna.
Wow.
Tuna's getting it done. Tuna just gets it done.
That tuna be smoking.
Take that.
Reshape Life Sciences turning around as well. We're trying to. CSAI still above VWAP, but it doesn't seem like there's any volume happening right now. GRI still showing its turnaround. Need to see a recapture of VWAP. It might be a case where this turns up and goes up to VWAP but gets rejected. I'd want to see a recapture of it for more upside. That's GRI. Newsmax still halted. CoreWeave kind of going sideways, getting ready for its next move.
ICCT pulled a little bit off that curl. You see that volume started to expand. We got that little up move here. This coming back into the VWAP. It looks like. Watch 375 there, ICCT.
Microvast still trying to push through its VWAP. It might get it on this next move here. So
I've got its VWAP at 136, but maybe a push away from that VWAP there.
Yeah, and there's also the 65 EMA it's trying to push past as well. And if it does get past there, we have a little bit more resistance at 142, it looks like.
SDOW at the highs here. So we were just talking about some of those leveraged ETFs for the option show. SQQQ at the highs here. XPSS. This is back on at the highs. By the way, I did get stopped out of this 7:30 yesterday as this was coming back in. Entry was 666, so we still made money, but we're out of it right now. That actually is going to have me looking at, if we do some of these levered ETFs with Amory, I am going to be looking at some of those. I would like to have some hedged exposure here, some exposure to the short side.
So Reshape Life Sciences knifed when it was trying to recover, and that went down to VWAP. It's halted now. CoreWeave still trading slightly lower, losing its altitude here off of the 40 handle. Newsmax pushing higher, 167.19 now the high. GRI pulling, CSAI that's pushing higher off of VWAP, looking for the 725 session high. ICCT still trying to hold above VWAP. MLGO kind of going sideways, and then IBO doing the same thing, sideways, but trying to push slightly higher. Microvast still trying to get past 65 ENA.
Now, MLGO here, this is still halted again. This right around that trend line. An MLGO. SPY new lows here, 554. Now, the level that we were watching from yesterday, going to be that 548 level. One of the things that I had said earlier here today is if when we're looking at a daily chart here, want to see what this candle ends up doing. Is it going to stay inside the candle that we just had, or does it end up breaking in either direction here? We'll still be watching that. Bottom side of that candle, 546.87. Top side of that candle, 560.71. So a pretty decent range there. CSAI looks like it tried to bounce off of its VWAP.
Newsmax is now in the 180s. It was just in the 160s a moment ago, and it just is ripping. Crow, maybe 200 plus, sure. Maybe. What a big move this thing has had. I just don't want to, buy shares this expensive for a trade. Let's see. CSAI trying to push into the highs, new highs of the day. Here we go. Microvast finally through its 65 EMA. This could get moving. Still has a lot of pre-market highs to get through, but this thing appears to be turning around.
So real quick here, RL's asking if Nike is a buy. Well, I guess it really depends on how you look at this. The one thing that I will say here for Nike to the long side, 60 to 63 seem to be the next area of support that we identified here. This actually corresponds with the COVID low, but a lot of other stuff kind of in the way here. Maybe call it a headwind here. Tariff issues, popularity issues, quality issues, the whole nine yards. It really depends on how you feel about Nike. Chart-wise, I think you're at a pretty decent spot here for support. I don't trust this one here, though.
Yeah,
I don't like Nike right now.
So in Nike's, I think their biggest issue is inventory right now. So until they are able to unwind that, like they said they were going to, you're probably going to see these downside pressures. If depending on what your time horizon is, Nike probably be better in the longer term. That's what I'm looking for. In the short term, though, this thing is quite oversold. 24 RSI right now. You could see some recovery in this to help heat it up a little bit and not be so down with such a low RSI. So there could be a bounce coming. Don't know how high the bounce will go or take the stock price, but this low RSI is setting up a short term trade for people.
And it's at that support level there. And, you were talking about their inventory. They actually, when they were talking about that, they said it might take a while to get through all of that inventory. So good mention there.
Yeah,
Good mention there. Let me go back to my main workspace here. MVST's right at that VWAP, trying to break out from it. ICCT volume has really come in here, but it is holding above its VWAP. We'll see if it can continue to do that. Intel, we talked about this earlier. Intel lower here, minus 3.5%.
Newsmax, this is starting to show signs of topping out. Not saying that it's doing that right at this moment, but if it continues to put in candles like the one it just had 5 minutes ago, where it had a very long top candle or top wick, that's going to be an indicator that it's topping out right now. The buyers are exhausted, we'll just say. So if we get a couple more candles that looks like this one that we just had 5 minutes ago, we could start to see this roll over. It's still printing highs right now, but just be careful with this one. It's very extended.
Good stuff here. Crocodile Dumb Me saying, folks, if the stream is choppy, leave and come back. We had the April Fool's gremlins attack us earlier here today. In force. Thankfully, our producers were ready to fend them all off. We should be all right, but this is a pretty good mention here from Crocodile Dumb Me. I appreciate that.
Yes, Andrew Senior TV. The guidance for a lot of these earnings reports are going to be what you want to focus on.
Yep.
Yeah, because the earnings are going to be looking backwards. Guidance is looking forwards, and the scare right now is that there's not going to be as much growth. So here we go with ICCT. That's coming back up. So yeah, this we still have a bit of a growth scare. People that are moving into the value stocks going to want to see how they're going to fare over the next several quarters. So the first earliest indication they're going to be getting is how they guide into the next quarter. So that's something definitely to watch for with these companies that are reporting.
And the guide might be telling you whether or not that stock is at peak earnings or not, or approaching it. You don't want to own stocks at peak earnings.
Yep.
This ICCT move, all right here, but volume not great with it. Let me see. Maybe it's just my chart. Actually, this recent pop, I suppose. Let me look at the 1 minute chart here. Recent little pop here. This is another reason why I like 1 minutes over 5 minutes. You can get a little bit more granular view on whether or not there was a volume pop there. We kind of smooth this out to the 5. I don't know. I'd like to see more volume here on ICCT to really make a run at that 5, but we'll see. We won't count it out yet.
And folks, just remember, we saw this thing go absolutely bonkers toward the end of the day. So it could be that same situation where it just doesn't have enough attention or enough volume, right now in the morning. Probably sells off a little bit through the lunch hour, and then after that, we start to see more recovery, and it takes us up to that 7 print that we're looking for. But it may not even get that. So just temper expectations with this. But I think when it comes to ICCT, we need to watch and see what it's done before. And yesterday, the bigger moves came in the afternoon.
Baba here did see some news here on the Twitter streets. Did I get that for you? Alibaba preparing for flagship AI model release as soon as April. Remember, Derek was looking like he was trading Baba here earlier today. Baba up or just about flat here.
Someone should tell them that we're in April now.
Fair enough.
CSAI, SDFU with a bear pennant, suggesting a big knife approaching. I guess I have to look at the time frame you're looking at, but either way, it's looking like it's running into a lot of resistance as soon as it gets up to the 7 handle. Doesn't really print too much beyond that, and then it just comes right back in. So for me, $7 is going to be a big level to get and close over. We need to see some prints closing over that multiple times for CSAI. Otherwise, it looks like, this is starting to come back in. So, and the volume's dropping off. So CSAI, temper expectation of this. We could see this come back in. ICCT also coming back in. Maybe just loading up the spring, to bounce again. I don't know.
Possible. We've seen that here. Let me bring it up here real quick. Newsmax crazy. More highs here. Looking like it's going for 200.
Yeah,
Clarence here mentioning 193, your high print there.
193.79. Yep, that's what I got too. And I'm still going to keep that warning out there. Just watch these. Watch how these are trading. It's starting to indicate that the top might be coming here.
STFU talking about wanting euros for lunch. There's a place right down the street from me called Greek Feast, and now I'm hungry. STFU. Now you made me think about euros.
Reshape is trying to go green again. Newsmax really starting to come back in now. This is the biggest red candle we've had so far today. GRI Bio is trying to push up to its VWAP. It's been going sideways ever since it did the Halt Fest selling.
Just saw some WBD calls get bought into this move to the lows.
Microvast still looking not bad. Curious to see if we end up getting it to 150. We were kind of topping out in the pre-market before we opened. Yeah, Newsmax halted to the downside now.
We're having fun with Newsmax.
Reshape Life Science is trying to break a trend. If you go to Reshape and just use just do a trend line. There you go, perfect. We're breaking through that now. So if we close above this, we might see Reshape continue to move up.
I guess we could probably do something similar here on ICCT.
Yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all.
Nope. GRI, it does look like that's trying to go back to its VWAP.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. CoreWeave also trying to push up. Lots of volume has really left these names though. Gotta make sure that's out there and understood, because we need the volume to continue with these upside moves and breaking through these resistance levels. We don't get that volume. We don't break those resistance levels. You're done with gyros. It's shawarma now. Okay.
Dude, we'll
accept it.
There's another place around here that has like the most delicious chicken shawarma sandwich. Oh my god.
You
guys are making me hungry.
I know. Keep it coming, guys. We're gonna.
I normally don't eat lunch. I normally try to fast, but man, today that might not work. Gary, would you prefer I call them gyros? you let me know, Gary.
All right. So CCT looking like it's trying to make one more move to get through this 430 area, I guess. It's been running into resistance over the past 15 minutes up here around 440. Not sure if we're going to get a breakdown or if it's just going to blast through that. But so far, the volume's not showing that it's going to blast through it. Be careful with this thing. It's a junky name, and there it goes.
Hope you like pressure, 13.
Yeah, right. And okay. So Sideshow, excellent. CTOR. This is the one that we were talking about yesterday. That had it seemed like it had no news, but it's because that there was this April 1st date that we were waiting for. So here we are. That J code. What is that? I guess we'll call it a. I'm trying to think of the word. But I can't think of it.
J code? What? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, so if you go to February 6th on CTOR and you read the headline, or you read the news from 8:55 in the morning, it's talking about how effective
okay.
First, healthcare providers may use the permanent J code.
Gotcha.
Yeah, when submitting claims for Lymphir. So that's what it was moving on yesterday, and that's why we're getting the movement today.
Okay.
Effective date.
The trade desk. Maybe the trade desk has put in a bottom here. Look at that. That 54 level seems to be pretty good here on the trade desk. Ticker TTD.
CoreWeave with a new high of 40.95. MLGO is halted to the upside, but it's not a big upside move that it was halted on. Microvast continues to recover, still looking for 150.
Microalgo still dealing with this trend line we put on here.
Yeah, it wants it back. All right, more whipsaw price action from ICCT. This thing has been in a sideways channel for much of the morning now.
SPY is up off of its lows. Moved down to the lows. Got caught here. See if it firms up at all.
Yeah, the intraday price action for the SPY, that doesn't look too good. That looks like a bear flag to me. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it seems like this may just go right back under 555.
BIAF penny stock looking like that might go to the highs. I'm going to stay away from that. IBIO, or excuse me, I did it. I did it even saying the letters 13. I still screwed it up. IBO looks like that's returning to the lows here. MVST maybe through the VWAP there.
Smoke's going to mention MVST. What are you seeing?
DraftKings not being helped at all by the NCAA tournament. That's for sure. How's Flutter doing? Boy, these charts look the same.
Didn't DraftKings just really start to turn down after the Super Bowl, kind of like we were looking for? Let me see here. Oh wow, this thing really got hammered. What the heck?
It actually, the Super Bowl was what? February 9th?
I believe so.
Someone would have to check me on that. This went up
right
okay, so after the Super Bowl and immediately came back in and now has resolved lower.
Yeah, and it might have been on earnings too, because that was on the 13th of February. So let's see here, 13th of February. That resulted in a big move up, a gap up, and then ever since then, on Valentine's Day, that's funny. Valentine's Day, it just went negative. After Valentine's Day, it just turned absolutely around, has not recovered. Looks like you could get some support down around 30. So it is getting pretty oversold, 31 RSI. So it wouldn't be surprising if we did move down to 30 and it finally found some support. But man, what a disappointing downside move. I don't know what pulled it down, but there must have been something about those earnings that the investors didn't like, because after it popped, it just has not come back from that yet.
As someone that does sports betting, likes sports betting, I don't use the DraftKings product. I use the FanDuel product. But I tell you what, these trades have been tough. They've been tough, and they have not worked out the way that people had thought. Flutter has actually been a better trade. Gary, lol, Ryan, we said gyros in Ohio. There's actually a Seinfeld episode that comments on that, which is probably how I know about it. LOL.
Newsmax continuing to sell off.
So it couldn't hold that $200 price. I'm shocked.
Yeah, be careful with ICCT. I think this is starting to lose some of the levels. It's still above VWAP, but it was looking like it was starting to lose some levels.
We'll see if it continues to print a lower high.
Yeah, this thing is still in that downtrend. Don't know how much time we have left on MLGO. GRI was halted to the downside again. Newsmax is open, trying to rebound off of VWAP. Reshape back under $1, trying to recover that. What's the RSI on Amazon? Well, on the daily, That is going to be 35. It's trading. It's bouncing off a trend line that it was on the underside, riding down on the underside of it. Popped over it on March 21st, and has been trading on the upside of it, but still moving down.
Jay mentioning betting is a big problem for men ages 20 to 40. I fit that range. Remember AB? You know what I remember about AB is I remember AB doing a lot of betting winning. To be honest with you, I've actually seen a couple of huge wins that he's had. So I don't really know how he's doing with his betting account, but dude knows baseball and golf, and he had some pretty good bets. I'm not here to smack talk AB. He did fine, at least as far as I know, with the bets. Now, your point there about that being a problem, I can understand that. I'm not sure that would account for where the stock is at. BIAF, did that take out? You sure did, Jacob. Good stuff. You end up trading this penny stock.
Wow.
That broke that pre-market high that we were looking for. Volumes held through there. All about the volume on this one. Good stuff there, Jacob.
I'm not sure what I want to trade right now. I don't like the way a lot of these things are looking.
Yeah, by the way, I took gains here on Dollar General, so I'm all out of that for right now. We had a nice little pop here this morning as this come back in. I basically just raised my stops, took the gains here, all out Dollar General. That is 200+%.
Hell yes.
So again, big shout out to the entire group that was responsible for that happy hour, paying for that trade.
It was a great trade. I want to see this thing to cool off so we can get back in it.
Jay here, the longer you play, the better chance for the house. Unless, just to quote Ocean's 11, unless when you get that perfect hand, you bet big and you take the house. But no, I'm with you on there. And by the way, Jay, that's why whenever I've done sports betting, I pretty much limit my bets to $10 a piece. If I lose $10, I'm not going to be hurting. And if there's ever a position in my life where I cannot afford to bet $10, I just won't. I would put that towards something else. You mean 16 parlays don't win? Only sometimes. Ed, you took your win on Dollar Tree. Good stuff there. DLTR. We had another person in the happy hour trading Dollar Tree. She did really well with that. It's nice to see though. I'll go back to those too, by the way. I don't follow Dollar General or Dollar Tree, but I could go back to those if those set up again. That was a really good trade.
Yeah, I think they will likely set up again. I don't know where the support on the selling is going to be at. I would think around 85. The RSI on Dollar General is at 66 right now. It's just a little bit over 66. So we do want to see that come in a little bit and cool off before we make another attempt to go for the 200-day SMA. That's what I would like to see ideally out of Dollar General, is just to cool back off, maybe retest the 85 area, print underneath it a little bit, and then just turn around and come take out the 200 and the trend line.
Real quickly here, Clarence saying, I'm still crying that I missed NMAX yesterday. I was on an airplane. Well, I got good news for you, Clarence. First of all, your airplane landed without incident. That's number one, given what we've seen here recently. Glad that that's the case. But the other piece of good news is, don't worry, you'll have another opportunity, maybe not on Newsmax, but on something else. One of the things that we had been discussing here was comparing it to other stocks that have behaved similar around IPO. I gave you two, GoPro and Beyond Meat. So this is not going to be the last crazy IPO. Hopefully you won't be flying the next time. But again, glad you had wheels down there. Amanda, did I rehearse the Seinfeld quote? No, I'm a Seinfeld library just like you.
And we have a whole bunch of IPOs that we know are coming up. I mean, some really big ones like Cerebus and Databricks. There's going to be some great trades in the future. Don't you worry.
And that's the thing, 13. Like the ones that we're talking about right now, or the ones that we're kind of waiting for, like the one Newsmax. This wasn't on anyone's list, at least as far as I'm aware. I don't know any single investor or trader that was saying, "Yeah, I'm waiting for that Newsmax IPO. It's going to be hot." I just don't think that's the case, and I do think you're going to get some more of those here, like 13 just mentioned there with Cerebras. And
Does Trump come
database.
on Newsmax at all? Does he
I
come on
don't
with?
watch it, so I don't know. Someone from the chat would have to. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't really watch any of the TV news. I don't like any of it. It seems like everyone's mad. Y'all folks know me. I don't like being around mad people. So why would I choose to put that on my television? Everyone's yelling. Doesn't matter which side you pick. They're all yelling.
It's intense.
It is intense. It is. If I want intensity, I want sports games that I can bet on, by the way.
Yeah, it's just that I would think that if whenever Trump comes on Newsmax, that the stock would see some movement. That's just all I was getting at. So there could be some catalysts if we know that he's going to be
the
on
new
Newsmax.
Kodak.
Kind of, yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I was joking. I wasn't trying to set you up for that. By the way, for those of you that are looking for IPOs, so here were some IPOs here today. I'm not going to trade any of these. I'm not looking for them, but ENGS, WTF. Boy, you can't even make that up, can you?
What is the IPO ticker?
WTF. Walton Financial Limited. $4. I don't think this is out yet, but that's on the list there. Anyway, I'll keep bringing you these IPOs, but I really just kind of want to lean on what 13 was saying earlier about us kind of waiting for some of these bigger ones to show up. I think those might actually give us a trade.
We were getting asked about the Spider biotech ETF, XBI. I think the question was, hold on, let me grab it real quick. Sorry, I have to go back and look at what the question was.
That's okay. That gives me a chance to read some of the comments here. Brandon saying that's the truth. Angry people are hard to be around, especially like if it's just constant, right? Especially if it's constant. I'm not saying you can't be around angry people when you're solving some problems, but choose to put that on my television. I'm trying to enjoy my evening, not make it worse.
Crocodile Dumb Me was asking any thoughts on XBI at 80. It's actually under 80 at the moment. The thing, I think I'd want to wait for this to come in lower. We just had a death cross in January, and I don't think there's enough time for that to play out. We also did just gap down this week. So the RSI is pretty low, so I can see how it could be a potential bounce coming here. So there may be a short-term bounce play. I could see that, but I think that you're going to be facing a lot more downside over time with this one. This could end up going down into the 60s.
Oh, okay. I was going to say 75, 70, but you're saying 60s then.
Yeah. The 60s looked like that's where, I mean, the last couple of times it's been down here in 2022 and 2023, it found support down in the low 60s.
Okay.
So, and even back in 2020 when we had the pandemic, down in the low 60s. Low 60s is about where, when this thing really gets hammered, this is where it's getting the support. So I think that if this continues to sell off, I'd be looking at low 60s for support.
Okay. All good. Here real quick. Ryan, watch Running Point on Netflix. It's funny. Okay. Appreciate that. With Trevor Milton getting a pardon, does that mean he'll be able to get back into the game? No, I don't think so. Smoke Tuna says, like I said, don't look away from RSLS. I can't keep it on my screen the entire time, but really good call there because we did break that trend. We're going towards the highs now.
CSAI also pushing up, but ICCT, that's falling down.
And also here, White Chocolate Mocha, I love Newsmax and all my military veteran friends that went from the battlefield to reporting truth. Possible, I just don't watch it. I just don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know something if I have just no. Wow. I just don't watch the news on television. It's
CSAI just had a large pop
above its intraday high. We're coming up to the after hours high. There's 750. Your next spot, CSAI. Good morning, Wisdom. Hopefully you're well.
It's moving around.
STFU,
crazy.
I know you're well.
Yeah. See, STFU and I were we're both watching CSAI. I don't know where this ends up going. That was a big move.
750 is your next spot there. keep running through. I tell you what, this I feel like this has been one of the better days for some of these junky movers that we've had in a bit. I know we had MLGO the last couple of days, but I feel like it was only one issue. We've had multiple targets here today. RSLS, watch that 140 as a possible spot there. ICCT, this is trying to hold on to its VWAP, but again, still under that trend line. Until we can take that trend out, the trend remains intact. And I don't really think that this is a great target here.
Newsmax might be finding support down at the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. It's trying to turn around. Let's see if we can recapture VWAP, which I have at 146.
Clarence here saying it's like Niagara Falls, so it must really be coming down here. Looks like the 65 EMA on the 5 at 117 3/4 there might stop it.
That was what, Newsmax? You were talking about? Oh, okay.
This has got to be an April Fool's joke. I'm going to check this. Just if I laugh at this, this has got to be a joke. It does not look to be a joke. Okay. I seen a tweet here that TradingView is introducing the first ever fragrance for traders.
All right.
I don't know if this is an April Fool's joke, folks. And there's a link there, and you click through, and it takes you to a pre-order page, and there's a price. If this is
I'm just going to miss myself with essence of stop loss.
Look, now it's time to take market culture directly to humanity's olfactory senses. Introducing Bullish, the new perfume by TradingView. I don't know if this is real or not. I just saw that pop up there. It is April Fool's, folks. So I don't know. Have your laughs on that one. Got to be a joke. That's what I'm thinking. If any of you order Bullish by TradingView, let me know. Can't even believe I'm saying that. Happy April 1st, everybody.
I can just see them like marketing another never miss out again with the essence of stop loss. You'll stay in the game longer.
Oh, 13. Yeah. Oh, good Lord. My fragrance is the ocean. We got another Seinfeld fan out here.
Oh, man. That was funny. Yeah, so RayShape Life Sciences halted to the upside. Intersession high is 139. We're halted at 133. CoreWeave still trying to push higher into the 40s. Hasn't really been able to get beyond 40.95. GRI volumes kind of just gone away. CSAI, this after that pop up to 749, it's coming back in. ICCT, this thing is continuing to move lower. MLGO, volume kind of went away on this one as well, kind of moving sideways at the moment. And then IBO, under $1 again.
Fairchild here, from a farm perspective, you do not want to smell like a bull.
Yeah, smoked tuna. Basically, that'll be bear spray, right?
Oh, I knew we were going to have fun on April 1st. I just didn't know how much fun. And the day is young. We're not even at lunchtime yet.
Newsmax making its way back up to VWAP. Be careful. I think we could get a bit of a bear flag out of this price action. Looks like CSAI is not finished with its wild moves. ICCT, this thing is really starting to look weak. If we do get a drop, I think that it may find support just under 345.
3D here saying Ryan should create his own perfume line. 3D, you have no idea how much this actually hits right in the feels here. I have a cologne problem. It's a good problem because the opposite of that is the actual problem. I have a ton of different scents. I absolutely love it. If I could create my own perfume line, that would probably be it for me. I would probably reach the pinnacle, would probably retire after that. If you know somebody that can help me with this.
I already got a name for you there.
I was gonna say, you let me know. You send me an email and you let me know.
I put it in the chat already what I think your name should be for the perfume.
Oh, I don't even. Do I want which chat and do I want to read it? Boon of Falloon.
Yeah,
that is a hell of a name. I don't know how well that's going to sell, but we'll take it. Ryan, come to France to do it. Actually, my buddy's driving through France right now. Said the farther away you get from Paris, the better it is.
The
Just his opinion.
Falloon fragrance, yes.
You guys.
Reshape Life Sciences hit 142 and knifed.
IONQ is continuing to curl up here. I've actually taken my eyes off a lot of the quantum names. Rigetti is curling a little bit, but it's still kind of not great. QUBT, same deal. IONQ, that is the one that had news. That one seems to be outperforming here today.
And that pop in CSAI doesn't look like it's lasting at the moment, but it's still above VWAP, so we'll see what happens there. This thing, let's see, where does this need to get back over? Looks like about, it still looks like 7 to 710. I think 7 was the resistance area before we were looking at. We broke through that, got it to 749. Still could be that area that we need to break back out of.
Real quick here, Palantir, anyone still waiting on an 80 crack here on Palantir? I think that actually might be the juice that we need to go back down to 60. I know that this has tried to hold on to 80 for a while here now. Still kind of waiting that crack out though. See
if it gets rejected at the 20-day SMA. That's that would be what I'd be watching for.
I'm sorry, you guys are too good here. STFU Eau de Faluna with hints of golf leather and stability. Smells like a freshly mowed green on a golf course. You guys are too much. Oh, you guys are too much here. But I'm glad we're laughing instead of crying here on April 1st. 1 day trade for me here today, but it's green. Do all right there. Swings are looking good. Things are looking good across the board.
And for the pets, we have Office Assistant, new fragrance by Faluna.
You know, his free. You know what he likes to do? He loves when I do laundry. Laundry day might be Buddy's favorite day because as soon as I bring the laundry basket back, he takes a nap in it and he smells like fresh laundry. It's awesome.
Oh, you rocking that Downy, huh?
It's actually the Kirkland brand Tide Pods. As if you guys had any doubt that I bought that from Kirkland. Also, one more thing to keep in mind here. We got 2 minutes till we go over to Dan and All Access here, but ICCT, keep this one on your radar. The trend line that we have identified, it's clearly staying in there. It has not broken down beneath its VWAP yet. I know the volume has become less impressive, but oftentimes we'll see some of these movers that are really moving in the morning will end up getting some type of volume pop later in the afternoon. If ICCT is one of those targets there, we might actually break above this trend line and lure some more. I say lure like it's a bad thing. Bring some more buyers in here. And again, that 5 spot also still in play here. As long as it stays above the VWAP and then also that 65 EMA on the 5, you might be all right here. Yeah, Amanda, I was totally going to say it's Costco. That was probably the easiest call of the day.
Reshape Life Sciences is not, I don't see it open yet, but it might be opening soon. 13.
Any closing words for the group here before we move over to Dan?
Yeah, happy April Fools, everybody. Hope you had a good time with all the goofiness that happened here today. Hopefully that'll have some more fun with that in the next session here. But hey, hopefully you guys did well. We'll be back here tomorrow. We'll find some more stocks to trade, and we will trade them and enjoy our Liberation Day. Have a great day, folks. See you then. Bye-bye.
All right, take care, 13. We will check in with you later. 13's departure, oh boy, leaves room for the inventor of the April Fool's Day prank. That's right, the person who came up with all of them, Dan Leach. Dan, happy April Fool's Day, happy Tuesday. How you doing here today, my man?
To you as well. I can't believe you thought that I was the first original tester of Bullish and Uday IPO, that great cologne. It smells like a winner. That's a real thing. I was the first tester.
I did not realize. That I did not realize. Well, Dan, I'm going to have to pick your brain about that because it sounds like I'm starting a cologne line here to go off into retirement. What do you got coming up on All Access, boss?
By the way, I got to screw with my Detroit Lions fan saying that Aaron Rodgers just got signed. So that was my April Fool's tweet this morning. It was pretty great.
Oh, you love making people angry. Got it.
It was awesome. I do it every year. We got the great Lisa Ricciardi, the CEO of Cognition Therapeutics, coming up. I'm really looking forward to talking to her, my man, Ryan.
All right. Knock it over. Happy April Fool's Day, Dan.
To you as well. Hey, Zingers, and welcome to All Access. I do have a wonderful guest for you today. Is Lisa Ricciardi, the CEO of Cognition Therapeutics. The NASDAQ ticker is CGTX. She's joining us for an exclusive talk today. All Access starts right now. And it is my distinct pleasure to welcome in the CEO of Cognition Therapeutics, Lisa Ricciardi. It's fantastic to be with you today, Lisa.
Dan, thank you. I love your energy. What a way to start.
Too kind. And as Ryan said, I was the inventor of April Fool's prank. So everyone, you can blame me. Lisa, let's start with this. Give us an overview of your company and a recap of the data from those two trials that Cognition reported in 2024.
Happy to. So Cognition Therapeutics focuses on neurodegenerative diseases. We started this company as scientists, neuroscientists, and a chemist, and they said, what is it that we can do to protect neurons from Alzheimer's disease? Fast forward 5 phase 2 trials later, here we have 2 great studies that read out. Let me add, we've raised close to $200 million in non-dilutive funding, Dan, and I always say to investors, you want to know what lean looks like? Come talk to us. We have 25 people, 7 PhDs, MDs. This is a tiny organization that are delivering the goods here. The trials that read out, the most recent one is called Shimmer, and it's in Lewy body dementia. And for people who don't know, it is such a complicated condition. The first thing you see are behavioral problems or disorders, hallucinations, aggressions, delusions, things of this nature. And the caregivers, you know, our doctors will say to us, a little 85-year-old woman comes in with her 85-year-old husband. She can't take care of an aggressive person who's having delusions. Right. So that's the first thing. Cognitive problems, very significant. Motor function. These patients fall a lot. They're in the emergency room a lot. And then last, if you add that all up, people aren't able to really take care of themselves, dress, bathe, do these things, activities of daily living. So the results from our study, I have to say, were very, very positive and so encouraging. 86% slowing of the behavioral psychiatric symptom, 86%. We also measured the caregivers. They were actually better at the end of the trial. The caregivers, because the person they were taking care of was obviously doing better. 85% slowing of cognitive decline, 52% preservation in activities of daily living. So if you can dress, bathe, and shower, you might not be able to go to the grocery store and get back. These are meaningful changes. And then last, 62% preservation in movement. So honestly, we thought that was a home run. That's for Lewy body dementia. Right. Briefly, in Alzheimer's disease, we read that study out over the summer. We refer to it as SHINE, mild to moderate disease. And our results were actually better than what we saw with monoclonal antibodies. We measure slowing of progression. So we slowed it by 39%, whereas Eisai and Lilly drugs, 25, 30%. As a reminder for the listeners, those are monoclonal antibodies. They're administered in an infusion center, and then patients need surveillance to look for brain bleeds. Our drug, once a day oral, really simple. We, in October, had new data, and we looked at a group of patients in that study. It was all pre-specified. We weren't digging through the data looking for something good. It was pre-specified. They had 95% slowing of disease. Can you imagine you have Alzheimer's disease and for 6 months, no change? Incredible. We found these patients through a commercially available test, p-tau 217. And so as we think about our phase 3 trial, we're thinking, how do we ensure that we get those patients in the study? So we're very pleased. We've been given great funding, and we feel like excellent trials were run. And look at the results. We're so excited about what we can do for patients in two pretty terrible conditions.
Yeah, there are terrible conditions, Lisa, but those numbers are incredible and just amazing work you guys are doing. And to dive a little deeper, what are the similarities and differences between Alzheimer's and DLB?
Great question. So one of the overlapping areas is in cognition, as it shows here. In Alzheimer's disease, that typically shows up first. People are confused, are not able to remember how to do things. It's not so much the case in DLB, but eventually these patients all have cognitive problems. The Lewy body patients are mostly known, as it indicates here, for some of the neuropsych challenges that they have, as well as the gait and falling kinds of things.
Right.
The truth is, the FDA knows a lot about Alzheimer's disease because there have been so many studies, not a lot of them successful, but lots of interaction. When it comes to Lewy body, we're all learning at the same time. And I would like to say cognition is a real front runner, working with the FDA, working with key opinion leaders with the Lewy Body Dementia Association. It's such a grassroots thing, Dan. You will see elderly people, like in the UK, 85-year-old people who are spearheading all of the awareness around Lewy body disease. It's really a grassroots, from the heart kind of effort because it's just not that well known. And having a drug that works is going to change that.
Yeah, that community and kind of, just effort seems to really help things. And, as you kind of explained, DLB does seem quite different from how we think of other diseases like Alzheimer's.
Yes.
Do you have to design a study differently for DLB, Lisa?
Yeah, it's a great question. So when you look at these things that are on the screen here, they all have validated ways of measuring them. So for example, under movement, we used a score. It's written there, UDPRS, validated, standardized instrument. All doctors who treat Parkinson's disease patients are familiar with it. Same thing for the activities of daily living. You see that in Alzheimer's trials as well. Cognition, there were probably a dozen things we measured. Again, validated. Same for the neuropsych. We wanted to do a study with the kind of rigor that no matter who was looking at the results, they would say, right, that is how you measure the change in this symptom category. The amazing thing was to hit on all of them, but it is quite different from Alzheimer's disease. That's true.
Sure. And Lisa, you appear to have a drug that works in two different diseases. As a small company, how do you move forward into phase 3? Will you have to pick one indication, or are you planning to develop the drug for each?
Yeah, no, great question. Thanks for asking that. Yes, we do have two bona fide indications. Right now, we're planning first to go to the FDA with our discussion around the end of phase 2 in Alzheimer's. Why are we doing that first? Because the study finished first last summer. Second, we'll go to the FDA and discuss DLB. We want to be prepared to run either of these trials, which is to say, have an approved protocol, and from there, endpoints we agree with the FDA. From there, we move on to how to fund it. Now, the truth is, Dan, we're in a pretty big partnering process right now, and it may be the case that a company that wants to work with us and that we want to work with says, oh no, we're doing DLB first, or we're doing Alzheimer's first. We're being prepared for both.
And what are your plans to eventually bring zervimesine to market, including the business development process that you have in place right now?
Oh, great question. Thank you.
That's the good ones, Lisa.
You asked only the good ones. Excellent. Yes, we have a pretty robust business development process. Let me back up and say, when I took over this company with my chief medical officer, the two of us made it our mission. We talked all the time to the companies working in neuroscience year after year. We had a little study, we had a big study, we'd call them up and get in front of them. And the whole point of that was for us to know their teams and for them to know the quality and rigor in this little tiny company. When you're a big pharmaceutical company, you look at us and you're like, who are those guys again? Those are the guys that do excellent studies.
Right.
And you know what? It was so valuable because now We're able to move very quickly through discussions. So that's what we're doing. Certainly, a CEO, I cannot guarantee we're going to find a partner, secure a deal. I'll tell you what, I'm working very hard with my team to ensure that happens. We anticipate, if we're able to sign a deal, there'll be a good amount of non-dilutive funding that might allow us to raise capital in the markets because people see that investor fallback for us. And from there, off to the races with phase 3. Now, once all that is secure, we've gotten to the FDA, we have a partner, we have funding, then we can talk about what you also asked, which is how do we commercialize this drug? All of that work begins well before launch, but we're not there yet. Thinking about it, but first things first.
Of course, got to take it one step at a time, and very exciting times ahead, as it seems for you guys at Cognition. Can you tell us about your Q4 results? What does your balance sheet look like right now?
Yeah. We announced Q4 results a couple of weeks ago. We have $25 million in cash. That takes us to the fourth quarter of this year. In addition, a non-balance sheet item is grant funding. I mentioned we've had close to $200 million of funding. So we have a $50 balance that is available to us to finish our trial called START, and that's for patients that have early stage Alzheimer's disease. We funded all of our trials with grant funding. And again, how does a little company that's raised, frankly, the modest amounts of money we've raised do 5 trials? That's how you do it with those kinds of supportive grants. So 50 million for that, 25 million in cash. That's what we have right now. Clearly, we need more to run phase 3, but we are thinking about how to do that.
Of course. And listen, you've gotten me very excited, but why should investors be excited by Cognition in 2025?
Great question. Again, you only ask the good ones. What we are thinking about is the following. We have some great catalysts. Get to the FDA to talk about what does phase 2, end of phase 2 look like? What is the study? How big? Where is it going to be conducted? US, international, how many doses? These are things we feel like investors and strategic partners really want to understand. So 2 very important catalysts in Alzheimer's and in Lewy body dementia. Another critical catalyst is our ability, if and when we get there, to announce a partnership, non-dilutive funding, maybe other sources of funding at that time. In the near term, I'd say over the next 6 months, we have really important things that will change the direction of this company. And what I really want, Dan, is for investors to look at Cognition and say, God, that's a $12 stock, or whatever they say, that they see the value in the work we do and in the excellent results we've generated and the top quality approach we have to clinical research. There's so much here. I want everyone else to see it.
So beautifully said, Lisa. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you today. Thank you so much for your time, and nothing but the best going forward.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Of course, honor and pleasure all mine. That was the CEO of Cognition Therapeutics, Lisa Ricciardi. The NASDAQ ticker is CGTX. Now, let's send it back to the man who has his signed picture on the wall at legendary Chicago hot dog stand Wiener Circle after eating hot dogs, 20 of them in less than 2 minutes. The great Ryan Faluda.
Yeah, you tried. It was a good try, but you didn't mention Portillo's anywhere in there, so you ended up failing. That's the Chicago dog place. That's where you got to go.
Wiener Circle, they yell at you, though. They make fun of you.
Yeah, it's not nearly as good as Portillo's, though. But in any case, Dan, really good stuff there with Lisa. Good luck on the rest of your bracket.
Hey, thank you very much. And you, my guy, doesn't get much better.
I'll take that. Dan, have a good one. Happy April Fool's Day. Let me know what other really good pranks you got. I'm really impressed by your Aaron Rodgers to the Lions one. Let me know what else you get with that. Dan's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, good morning. Happy April Fool's Day. Did anyone get you today?
No, they might have
You got a good
tried.
circle then. You got a good
Yeah.
circle of people that love you, because even the show this morning would not start for us. We had a crash. The show wouldn't start. We had all types of April Fool's gremlins out here.
Fingers crossed. The
Fingers
day's
crossed
young.
that we're okay. All right. Well, looks like the April Fool's gremlins aren't doing anything to your computer here. I see a gorgeous chart. What do we got here today? I can't see the ticker though.
Okay, this is UPRO. We were looking at some leveraged ETFs. Do you wonder if we should start with app first, like you thought about? And
Yeah. Yeah, I was so just to kind of recap here, I'd love to do that. I know we've talked about app a lot. I know several of the folks in our community are actually currently trading app right now. The big thing here was we had talked about this recently, a huge fall in the chart. The chart actually does look kind of bearish to me, but we saw some aggressive buying in deep out of the money calls in the September 520s. I'm just wondering, A, if this changes any of the trades that we have on, or I guess, or do we set up a new one given the new information?
That's a really good question.
I only ask the good ones. Okay, anyway.
So if per happenstance that goes all the way up into that area, that would be really outsized, but it is September. My wonder is that some kind of hedge? And did we see anything separated around the put actions?
Anne-Marie, let
in
me cut in here. Is there any way we can make the text bigger? Even I
Oh,
can't
of
see it here.
course. I'm sorry. I
It's
totally
okay.
forgot.
It's okay. I just want to be able to read those numbers. If you folks can't see it on the stream, let me know in the chat. I will go ahead and read out those numbers here as soon as she makes it bigger. Anne-Marie, I appreciate it. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Thank you. I'm so sorry for not preparing that ahead of time. Certainly, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, so I don't see, if I look through those September calls, and these are all the way down here at what, 520?
520. Yeah.
Right? So my question is the following. Is there a possibility that this is a short spread? Is it a possibility that it's a diagonal that's set up across a couple of months? See the move? You see the open interest at 689 at 470 in the month before?
Yep.
Could be a diagonal that's sort of meshed out. That feels really far away to be a position that is a directional move. That
Okay. This
that
is why we
going to
ask.
do that.
This is why I asked. The only information I had was that I saw that was an unusual aggressive buy, but I had nothing else tied to it. So this is all good stuff.
What might be great, though, is if you're looking at that September area and you're thinking to yourself, well, what if that is a move that's got legs? Is there a trade there? And the spread is very wide in the next strike down because there's very little opportunity. But if you're looking for something that heads it off at the yeah, I don't see anything
Okay.
that's not risk heavy, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. I appreciate taking a look at it. Just again, new information. Figured we'd take a look, but you're right. If we can't adequately pare that risk down, maybe it's just not worth it. Especially since we have some other ones on there.
Absolutely. So
Amanda's asking a follow-up question here. What about an iron condor with that as the upper boundary?
Now, I was thinking that, but look at the pricing on the spreads, right? And if you did it, listen, I don't mind that at all. One, you'd need to have a strike that was 20 wide because the chains are so poorly priced. You want to go to where the bigger strikes are sitting. And so let me look at that. It's not unless we choose. All right, mister, come on. Let's try it with the mouse. Okay, here we go. Let's see. That's not a bad idea. The question might be, Yeah, it is so far away. What is the low that we are seeing, and what would congestion low look like? Congested low is down at 160. That's the breakaway formation from a weekly price action event. Half back on this monster candlestick towards earnings is about 220. So you might do that. 220, 200 for September. Yeah, that gives you about half. But if I were a betting man, I would say, why not move the delta to the 30s, right? Or 27s. That would be 430 to 450. I think we'd get a lot more premium, and the probabilities would still be in our favor if we were just looking at the statistical moves. So the implied volatility into September is $148. Here's how you can see what the implied move is. And so if we add those on the upside from 268, we get, 410. So 430 is really far away from that. And if we choose the strike below it, that's just as wide, we can go 430 to 450, and we're moving right inside of the volatility ranges that the statistical motion, the statistical motion, whoa, isn't that interesting? Look at that. We get less money if we choose the 450 than if we choose the 530. And that's because of the volume, right? So if we did 500 to 520, order filled. I don't know what just went off there. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I was like, order filled, where? Yeah. Okay. 520 to 5. It would be 500 would be the one at the top. Sorry, folks. 500, 520. And that would actually give us more and less risk. So that happens when there's a lot of positioning in a certain space. And we're seeing it here. Sorry, operator error right here. 520. Come on. Good grief.
You got a lot of strikes to scroll through there, don't you?
Yeah. 520. Right? So it actually gives us 15 cents more, but it's further away. So that's what I would do from a statistical perspective. That's what I think we're seeing from that space. So yeah, that's what I would choose. The strike that is the 500, 520, 220, 200 if you're going to do it down in September using the implied volatility band. They're thinking there's 150 points there. So I think that is perfectly fine. Now from the put side, it puts it way out onto that lower end, but the mid strike looks like the most useful in my mind.
Okay. Okay, good stuff there. Appreciate that. But you wanted to talk about some leveraged ETF plays. I love that
Yes.
idea. I think this is a perfect environment for that.
Absolutely. So I talked about this at the midday Moneyball yesterday, but I want to take a look at a few more different ones that are, triple leveraged. Here's the Bear ETF. And of course, it's down because the price action of the day is moving up, but we are moving right into the expected move of today. And so I think we are close to the top of the range in all likelihood. And so this potentially might make a nice breakout to the upside. So how might we look at that if we expect price action to rotate down? That would mean that this would rotate up. And if this is the case, we would take a peek at what you can see that there's about 4 times the amount of calls as puts. So they are staged in a space where we are very likely to bounce. And so volatility is really pretty high here. And so it gives us an opportunity to trade with butterflies that are really pretty cheap, that can send us into target areas that look like the next zone of resistance, which look like about maybe 20. We can use that as our middle strike, and maybe 20. Hello, mercy. Add a drawing. How about a price level? Yeah. That's what we want. We want the 20 area, and then the top end, maybe 23 or 24. And so if we go to this area and we go, all right, we might have a little bit of volatility. If we use 20 as the middle strike, we can use 17, which is very close to where we are right now, gives us about 4 points. And 3 points below. Yep, 3 points below. At 23.50 cents or so, you could probably get it a little cheaper if you wait for the price action today to top out just a wee bit. And so that's going to look like maybe you can get it at about 40 cents. And that's going to give you a hedge if the market turns around. Now, you could easily say, you know what, I'm just going to buy that 20. That's where the most of everybody is sitting, except for the guys at 17. I chose 17 because that's, a lot of volume is sitting right there. It's pretty close. And you'll be able to get it, I think, cheaper and cheaper as the price action fades a little into its support zone. And that's, essentially what we're staring down right now. You can see the vol actually moving the prices up right now. So it could be skewing to that side. So that would be if you think the market is going to fall over the next month or so, or into expiration. If per happenstance you want to see price action continue up, let's take a look at the TNA. Okay, this is the small cap. I want let's use UPRO.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that for TZA. Are you expecting more weakness post the tariff announcement in small caps?
It's hard. I do. I think they're going to have trouble there. I do. I think small caps are going to get pinched even worse than anybody else because they have less leverage for pricing and fewer outlets for tightening that spread. If they pass it on to their customers, they have to eat the additional cost, and they already in general work on lower margins. So that's my thought for that one. And you could probably do it out in June. Before we change that, let's take a look at this. Okay, so if we change this expiry to, say, May, it's cheaper. And of course, June will be even cheaper. May looks like it gives us, 45 days. That might look better than doing the April one. So on hindsight, I would probably pick May. So yes, I do believe those guys are going to have pricing issues in general, right? Now, it could be that it ends up showing through the earnings. I don't know how it's going to shake out, right? So let's take a look at the next one. This is UPRO. This is the Ultra S&P 500. And yesterday I was talking about, hey, listen, this 71-ish area looks like a really nice support zone. I think it's going to try and hit 75. And you can see that that's where it's going. So the floor is 70. If you're looking for long action in here, it's got to hold the 68. Now, here's another reason I am talking about these potential bearish formations. And I did mention this to the folks on the platform. If you're concerned about your 401k and you can only go long in these environments, why not pick up something that is cheap hedge, a cheap hedge, essentially? And that's what these long inverse ETFs do, right? When the market goes down, they go up. So you just need to buy them, or you can buy a spread. Just buy yourself some cheap insurance if the market decides it's going to have a little bit of a tumble. A lot of people are talking about why these are really great buy zones. This area at 75.60 does look a lot like resistance. However, if it holds, we're looking at 78 as the next test into the gap. There's a thin volume event there. So you can look at a couple of different things. And to me, those would be, we'll do the same thing in terms of May. If we're thinking, hey, this is going to lift, price action is going to be fine, it's going to hold 75, and potentially it'll go to 78, but maybe we're just going to look at 80 as the top of that formation, and then 85, and that gives us a $500 upside for a $78 exposure event. And so I like that, but ultimately I like the dips being the buy zones better. This is that last one, 72.50 to 75 was the one that I thought about and talked to folks about yesterday. Now we can take a look at a cheap butterfly into May and have that cheap exposure for an upward blast into the move. And then, chances are we stall out in this area. But if you can double this, which is what will happen because the vol is so heavy, we can easily double our investment here if price action moves up. Okay, so now let's talk about the flip side of that. Let's go to the SPXU. And got a lot of positions in here. All right, so for the SPXU, what we're thinking about is a fade that comes into 23 or so and then moves back up to 28. All right, so the 23 is pretty deep in the money in general. 28 is right here at the top of the range. It could get to 29. I think it's going to stop right there. But even though, take a look at why I love this chain. Even though there's only 8 in the open interest, the spread is still only 10 cents wide.
Mhm.
And so that makes for a really nice formation. So 23 to 29 to, what is that, 35? Yeah. Yes. That is $1.28 for insurance for if the market fades, $600 to the upside, $128 to enter the trade. My thought is let the price action currently exhaust, right? We're in a giant upswing right now. Sellers are really caught flat-footed here. I also want to show you how to read expected moves from the chart. So remind me to do that because I can show you what the option traders were thinking this morning in terms of motion. But what we want to do is really see if the traders can pull back into 23 to 23.74, right? And then buy that call spread if you're thinking the price action is going to fade and you want to buy some insurance. Why not try and buy it a little bit cheaper? Wait for the price to come in for you. So for me, I have this alert set so that when it comes in there into that 23-ish area, it's going to prepare me to enter the trade. And you're probably going to get this for half the price. Now, if you don't want to stare down the chart, you can set an alert, but then put it out for 70 cents, right? Newsback still going crazy. That's truly an insane chart right now.
It sure is. And believe me, Anne Marie, when the 5 days pass and we get option chains on that, we're going to be asking you about a trade on
My goodness,
Newsmax
it's going to be
without a
fun.
doubt.
You know, CrowdWeave already has options out.
A core weave.
CoreWeave, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Right,
So
CoreWeave,
interesting. So
yeah.
that thing I read earlier, maybe that's not set in stone. They were saying it needed 5 days, but whatever. Okay,
I
that's good to know.
Crazy. Yeah. So they've got it. So that's what I would say about using this formation. Put it out there for 70 cents. See if you can get it. It's all the way out in May. And if it does come in, it'll give you a chance to position, but not position too early where you're not paying too much for insurance because right now we are at an upswing. Let me show you something super interesting. And I'm going to do it for, let's do it for SPY. So, hello, Fred.
We got about a minute and a half here.
Oh, yes, sorry. We'll take a look at SPY. If you are wondering, oh my goodness, what are the option traders telling me that price action is likely to do in the day? Simply open up your option chains, go to the instrument that has 1 day of expiration, right? So last night it would have been tomorrow. Today, for the rest of the day, they're saying, hey, listen, we could have $3 more to the upside. Tomorrow, it could be $8 wide. So a lot of implied volatility is getting packed into the charts. Good way to look at your price action to help you get yourself on the right side of the trade. If you're trying to short up at the top, make sure that you're not past that expected move because it's going to cause reflexive buying or reflexive selling on the bottom.
Okay, that's actually a pretty good tip. I did not. We're adding things to our toolbox every time here, Anne Marie. That is awesome. Okay, I know we started a little bit late there, so we're a little bit truncated here on time, but really good stuff. Yeah, really good stuff nonetheless. Look, Anne-Marie, thanks for everything. Thanks for guiding us through these turbulent times. Big day tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see what's happening here, what happens tomorrow, and then the days after that. We're going to have you back on Friday, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I would imagine then we're probably going to have several plays to look into on Friday.
Yes,
Get some rest. I'll see you then.
Take care.
That is Anne-Marie, folks. Really good stuff there. Next up, Tech Tune-Up with the one and only Paul Meeks. And the good news here, folks, you don't have to do anything. I'm going to send you over there. So happy April Fool's Day. I appreciate you sticking with us while we had some technical difficulties. We'll be back 2% better tomorrow, as we always are. Stay green, stay safe.